fail? This is a question that came to me 10 years ago when I was working in a company which has been stable for many years, and then they were bought over by a multinational. Then, in a short span of a few months, there was intense change. And in this change, I realized most people could not adapt. I adapted. I did well. I got a promotion. I moved into a regional role. I traveled. So I was doing fine. But when I looked at the rest of my friends, over the next 2-3 years, I saw many of them struggling to adapt. Particularly a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine who was a very inspiring leader, he turned into a difficult employee. So I actually saw him beginning to fail, and I had this question: what makes a person fail? That's when I realized it's actually emotions. It's not the little emotions that go unnoticed. In your daily life, you don't even realize that you are reacting, you are being emotional over little things. For example, let's say you're coming for an important meeting, you're coming for the talk today, and you ordered coffee. And instead of giving you your latte, the barista gave you a cappuccino instead. And if you're going to drink, you get annoyed. And now you'll be thinking, what's wrong with getting annoyed? They got my coffee or wrong anyway. It's just that when you start getting annoyed at little things, getting annoyed becomes a habit pattern. And eventually what happens is, there are many things in a day that will go wrong. Eventually, this habit pattern of getting annoyed will progress into agitation, into being stressful, into being snappy, and then you turn out to become an unhappy person, and you change the environment around you to be unhappy. Coming back to my work environment, remember, this company was acquired and made a regional center. So they hired managers who were younger and academically more qualified into higher roles. So the older staff were actually beginning to feel unappreciated. They just felt that their many years of contribution to the company went unnoticed. But this feeling was not acknowledged. They were not aware of it. The management were not aware of it. And this feeling festered, grew. And then it became a resistance to change. It became an opposition to anything that management did. And then they became like two camps, management camp, old staff camp. And eventually, the whole culture became toxic. And I saw this. I saw this happening. I could help them in the short term. I could speak to them. I could do some coaching. But it was not enough. It was not sustainable. 2 weeks later, they came back to me with the same conversation. And I saw this going down. So how is it? How do I raise the awareness of someone that it is them that is making themselves unhappy and creating the results around them? How do I get them to see this? And I found this solution in ET Ideas, a social business incubator in Malaysia. And this business incubator had 80% success rate in their startups. The world statistic is that 1 in 10 startups only succeed in the long run. So they must be doing something right. And when I looked into it more, I realized they were actually guiding the entrepreneurs to manage their emotions by looking at every obstacle that happened as a challenge, as a learning opportunity. There's something to learn from it. And that's how they were building the entrepreneur's mindset, and eventually they were getting the entrepreneurs to be sustainable over the dynamics of entrepreneurship over the span of their startup. They were using a concept called SIEP. So what is SIEP? SIEP is a framework that I developed in the course of my research, my PhD research, developed this practical framework called SIEP, adapted from what was practiced in ET Ideas by interviewing ET Ideas entrepreneurs. And the other thing is, it also took my experience, my 26 years of experience in the corporate world as a finance director, as a HR director, as an organizational development head, and in the last 10 years, I've stepped out and had my own consulting firm, pioneering SIEP in culture transformation, and the success of my success of the people who used SIEP both in the corporate setting and also as entrepreneurs contributed to this framework that I'm introducing here. And it's a way of thinking. Most of us are doing the reverse of SIEP thinking. Okay? So what is SIEP? S stands for spirit, I for your intellect, E for your emotions, and P for your physical senses. It's what you see, what you hear. Most of us are doing the reverse of SIEP in the sense that we react to what we see and what we hear. And then we get emotional about it. It is an automatic subconscious reaction. Our intellect is then used by our emotions to find fault or to assign blame. And our spirit, everyone's forgotten about it. And what should we be doing? So this SIEP philosophy is that everything is happening for a reason. It's meant to happen. And you are supposed to learn a lesson from it, either from the incident or from that person. So S is, if you can accept that you are supposed to learn a lesson, then your emotions will be not angry and upset. The emotions will be calm, and your intellect will be curious. What is the lesson I'm supposed to learn? Okay? And your physical senses will look back within you to see what is the lesson you're supposed to learn, and you will correct something within your control to change the outcome that you desire. That's the philosophy behind SIEP. The best way to understand something is to look at some real life experiences. Okay. So let me share a story of one of the person that I was coaching. Her name is Sarah. So Sarah is this very interesting, vibrant person who gets things done, and I was very excited to meet her. It's always a joy to meet her. So when I went up to her and I looked at her, this particular day, she was extremely upset. And I looked at her and I said, okay, what's wrong? She said, you wouldn't believe this. You wouldn't believe this at all. I have a presentation in 2 days, and my presentation partner, Bobby, just sent me this message. Look at this text. Look at it. Look at it. There's 2 more days, and now he's telling me I can't do the slides. Can you please do it? That's it. People have warned me about Bobby. People have said, do not work with Bobby. He cannot work under stress. Last minute, he will let you down. And that's exactly what he's done. And I'm just so angry. I'm just so mad. And I was like, hey, calm down. So have a seat. Let's have coffee. Let's take a deep breath. Let's take a few minutes of deep breath. When you take deep, quiet breath, you calm your emotions down. You engage your intellect. You engage your conscious mind. So I got her to take deep breath. Then I asked her, are we calm now? She said, yeah. Okay. Can we start with S? Can you accept that you're supposed to learn something from this incident? Her reply was yes. I can accept. I can accept that I need to work with Bobby, and I need to be truthful to Bobby and tell him that he cannot be irresponsible like this. He needs to inform earlier, or he needs to find out. I was like, hey, stop, Sarah. Stop. Because SIEP is never about someone else. SIEP is about yourself. SIEP is about what can you do? What can you learn from this? What can you do differently? So if your intellect is still focused on getting Bobby to do something, it tells me that your emotions are not calm. You are still upset with him. So we have to start from S again. So let's start from S. Deep, quiet breath. longer breath. And she calmed down. Then I asked her again, let's start with S. Can you accept that you're supposed to learn something from this? She nodded. And I said, okay, what is the lesson that you can learn from this? She thought for a while. And then you can see the light bulb go off. You can actually see when somebody switches from emotions to intellect. You can actually see it. You can feel it as well. Then I asked her, so what is the lesson? She said, I have actually prejudged Bob. I've made a judgment about him based on what I've heard. And when I saw the text, I just got upset and I overreacted. Very good. Intellect is working. Because now you're giving him the benefit of doubt. Your emotions seems relatively calm. B, what is the thing you can do? She thought about it again for a few minutes and she said, you know what, I'll give him a call, we will meet up, we will work on this together and then I'll know what's the problem. That's a good thing. They actually did that. They both met up, worked on it together, happily, and they had a wonderful presentation. See, Sarah took an incident that could have turned into a disaster and turned it around, and the presentation was a success, but she and Bobby went on to become good teammates. This is a true story, by the way. Okay. Then you might say, well, sir, this story is too simple. Let's go into something a bit more complicated. Let's look at an entrepreneur. Okay, an entrepreneurial situation is a lot more complicated, right? Okay, so this is the story of Cindy. Cindy had a product launch about a week ago. So in this product launch, she's usually very successful and good at getting things done. So when I met her, she looked very dejected. She looked rejected. She looked sad. And I said, okay, what's happening, Cindy? And she said, I think we can't launch this product. I think it's not working. We need to give up on it. I was like, okay, maybe, but let's see. Let's do SIEP. Can you accept that there's something for you to learn from this? Before that, what actually happened? I asked her. So she said, for the last 1 week, I've been calling all my clients and I've been telling them about this new product launch. And everyone's been telling me no. It's a flat no. Every time they tell me no, it pains me. I feel rejected. This is just too traumatizing. I think this product is not suitable. That's what they're trying to tell me. I say, okay, let's do SIP. Let's start with S. Can you accept there's something for you to learn from this? She said, yes. And the whole week I've been thinking, what's my lesson? So maybe my lesson is this product is not supposed to be launched. I say, hang on. It doesn't look like you're really doing SIP. It looks like there's still some emotions here. So let's really think. What was the conversations you were having with your clients or your potential clients? What were they asking about before they said no? She thought for a while. She said, many of them inquired about the safety feature of the product, especially in relationship to children. What can I do about that? Maybe I'll do some lab tests, I'll get some certification, and before I'm proceeding to launch this. I said, very good. Intellect. It is now finding solutions. Your emotions seems calmer. So, P, what is it you can learn from this? She took a deep breath and she told me, I actually took all of the no's, all the rejection as rejection, and I took it personally. And I was getting to me. I forgot this was actually market research. I forgot this was still a product in development, and people who were talking to were actually giving me valuable feedback. This product was launched, and eventually it became her best-seller product. This is a product that she would have given up that day because she didn't know how to do marketing. And this is why people fail. So what happened from then on is she looked at every obstacle objectively. She did SIEP. She managed her emotions. She looked at what is the solution, and she corrected herself or the process. She corrected it until she achieved the goal. But that's a problem with SIEP. You cannot do SIEP when you have very high emotions. So if you're going through a breakup, or you just lost your job, or you just failed your exam, or someone just passed on, you cannot do SIP because the emotions is just too strong. You will need help. You will need professional help, or you will need a coach or a mentor or a friend to help you manage the emotions.
Guide you through the extreme emotions, and eventually you can do SIP. But you cannot do SIP when your emotions is high. So then the question is, when do you do SIP? You have to learn how to do SIP in the good times, on a normal day, every day, today. For example, I'm all dressed up, I'm wearing a white blouse, I'm going for a meeting and someone spills coffee on me. Can I respond to this situation? Can I accept accidents happen? We're all human, accidents happen. Can I be kind and compassionate to this guy who just spilled coffee on me? Can I immediately go into a solution mode and salvage the situation? This morning, my parents are supposed to come for this talk, and the Grab driver says she's an emergency. Can I respond to this situation? Can I accept that emergency she has is important and not get upset with this Grab driver? The problem sorted out by itself. But the point I'm making here is, it has to be a habit pattern. Many things go wrong in our lives. It has to be a daily habit pattern. As you build this habit pattern, eventually you will be able to handle the bigger emotions.
SIP has to be a way of life.